What is up? What is up? What is up? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It is Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for another Sunday of, you've guessed it, the Success Starter series. Y'all see how we're, getting back into the habit, getting back into the routine, doing what it is that we need to do, and keeping it together, or getting it back together. Let's say it that way. There we go. Let's talk about avoiding the holiday burnout. Holidays are coming. We a couple days before November, and perfect time for me to remind you that now's the time to start planning for the month ahead. It's time to start planning for November. And so, as you're starting to plan for November, and even looking ahead somewhat to December, it's a good time to make sure that your plans are helping you to avoid that potential burnout that might come with the holidays. Thanksgiving travel, Christmas travel, travel in between, whatever the case may be. I know it's like homecoming season for a lot of schools. So traveling for homecoming, Friendsgiving, traveling, coaching retreats, whatever the case may be, holiday travel, all the things, all the things. Whatever the reason, you may or may not be traveling, because you might just be staying home, and even in the course of staying home, you still like, look, anybody got time to be burnt out, and so I need to figure out how to avoid this burnout. And so I want to talk you through and walk you through 3 ways that you can use your habits to help you to avoid that holiday burnout. And y'all know we're going to use the Lee method to get us through this. Because as your productivity and accountability coach, y'all know I'm all about helping you find that hidden time in your day. And as we go into this holiday season, time, not that it's never of the essence, but time is, quite potentially more of the essence, because we're limited in what we need. We have the same amount of time, but we're limited in the amount of time that we have to get things done because of maybe travel, homecomings, Friendsgiving, vacations, all the things. And so our regular routines might not stop, but they might have things added to it. We might have to pivot, we might have to adjust, whatever the case may be. But I don't want you to go into the holidays burnt out, because if you go into the holidays burnt out, when January comes, when 2026 comes, you're going to be coming off of that burnout and not be ready to tackle the month, not be ready to get ready and to jump into, this new year. And so let's first start with looking at your habits. Let's audit your habits. Let's audit your routines. So if we're talking about avoiding this holiday burnout, avoiding this burnout, what do we need to start with? We need to start with, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, as you look at your habits, your routines, the things that you're normally doing, the places that your attention sometimes is going, and all of that, we need to audit those. So we can look at your habits or your routines. They can be used interchangeably, but let's talk about maybe routines specifically. So let's look at your routines. Like, what is your normal morning routine, your weekly routine? What's going to be different? And so for me, I can use this month of October to kind of maybe be a preview of how you can apply this to your holidays. Because this month I had back-to-back travel. And so because of that back-to-back travel, I wasn't home to meal prep on the weekends. And because of basically only having like 3 days during the week before traveling again, meal prep was kind of like, well, what am I going to prep? Or what can I freeze to take out? Or, things like that. Or what do I have in here that I need to eat that's going to go bad before I'm gone? What do I need to do? And so being out of your routine can sometimes throw your whole routine off. And I get that saying being out of routine can throw your routine off. I get that. I just doubled that there. So for me, like today, I'm back. Well, I didn't just get back. Like, I got back last week, but I got back on like Monday night. And then Tuesday morning went to work. So this weekend, I went meal prepping. I'm not meal prepping. Well, I did meal prep this weekend, the first time in like almost a month that I fully did a full meal prep. I meal prep, and then I went grocery shopping today as well. So I went grocery shopping. My fruits and vegetables are currently soaking in, their solution to be cleaned. I put up not the non-perishables. I put up everything else besides what's soaking. And so this weekend, I have to go back and take the photos. I forgot to take the photos. I took my weights, my measurements to really get myself back into the routine. Because of that travel, I also wasn't on routine in terms of my fitness programs. I've still been working out, but because of like where one program ended, and because of the travel that I had coming up, and knowing that I am going to be off the routine. I'm going to this conference, so I might not be able to work out. Well, I was going to be in an Airbnb one time, so knowing that I wouldn't have access to weights, trying to decide what workout program I wanted to do because it was going to be, 4 to 5 days of not having access to that stuff. Still wanted to work out, but knowing that it was going to have to look differently. And so now here I am back, home for the next month. Home, no travel, no reason, quote unquote, to get out of this routine. And so what you're doing when you're doing this audit of your routine is that you're looking to figure out what might get disrupted with all the things that are going on. So for me, I was able to look at my routine and realize that my meal prepping day is going to be thrown off or non-existent. Work from home wasn't going to be a thing because of, being off the days that I was going to be off. Meal prepping, my workout routine, my running routine. Like I ran this weekend for the first time in almost a month. Like all of these things I knew had to adjust. So even when I came into the month of October, and again, this is something you can use for November and December, and really anytime. When I was coming into October, even when I was setting like my running goal and setting my goals, like I was like, okay, well, if I don't have as many running days, how am I gonna like make this work? But also looking at where I need to be for the rest of the year to hit my running goal for the year. So earlier in the year, I was ahead. I got ahead on my running goal, and that's honestly is coming to save me now because of that. Like instead of me having to be running 25 miles a month, I'm only having to run like 20. And right now, unless I can get 2 runs in, or run this 4 miles, and I really don't want to run 4 miles, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm like 4 miles short of my running goal for the month. And so, is it 4 miles? I ran this morning, so let's see. I said 4 miles. Did I do the math and add this? Because there were, I'm going to have to do the math and add that because that math ain't math, and we need to, anyways, we'll focus on that later. Because I'm looking at it, says I'm 6 miles behind, but I feel like I should only be 4 miles behind. But I think I didn't add my run from this morning. Like I added it to the log, but didn't add it to the total miles from that. I digress. We'll calculate that later. So if you're able to audit your routines to figure out what is potentially going to be lost, not able to be done, like what is the travel, what is the whatever the reason that you're going to be out of your routine, what is the hustle. What is the go with the flow, or what is all this extra going gonna do? And so if you can do that, then you can examine what needs to change. So what are some quick adjustments that you can make in your habits, in your routines to accommodate? And so one thing that I did when I kind of went through it for me was adjusting my food. So I can talk about it in the multiple different areas, excuse me. So, for example, when it came to food, it was like, okay, what can I cook to have enough of? Or I be having food that's in the freezer that's sometimes cooked. It was like, okay, well, let me save my food that's in the freezer that's already cooked for when I'm come back. So I can take that out of the freezer and have food when when I come back. I looked at my workouts, like, okay, what workouts can I do, or what type of programs can I do while I'm away to still work out and not necessarily worry about having access to weights, or if I have to miss a day or skip a day, that won't completely throw off everything. So I looked at that when it came to my workouts. I looked at that when it came to my nutrition. I looked at that when it came to even like grocery shopping, or like, okay, let's just stretch it and just use what I have and, go down to the end of the things. And so what can you do to adjust your habits or routine? So let's think about maybe 3 tweaks that you can make to adjust your focus or your energy. So if you normally batch, because even my content creation was thrown off because of the Saturdays. I just said batch and made me think about that. So let's think about what can we adjust, or what shifts can we make to protect, this energy and this focus. When it comes to your habits, when it comes to your routines, what adjustments can you make? Can you put less things on the to-do list? Can you look at an overview of the next 2 weeks, maybe month, to see like kind of what's going on and what's coming up so that you can make sure that as you're planning out either setting your goals or planning travel or saying yes to things, you really can kind of get an idea of your energy, of your capacity. Because if you want to protect your energy, you need to know where is your energy going to be expended. And if you have these back-to-back days or back-to-back weeks of this go, 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 that's where that burnout can come into play. Because we keep trying to push and push and push when things aren't normal. Like, this isn't your normal. So let's examine what it is for you that might be these quick adjustments that you can make, these tweaks that you can make to help you. So we talked about putting less things on your to-do list. We talked about looking further ahead, maybe on your calendar. Like I talk about doing your brain up a to-do list for the week. Maybe you need to do a 2-week one. Or even like a monthly overview to kind of think about like, no. Like maybe just flip through your calendar day by day and really see how many things are already on your calendar that you said yes to, or what the travel situation or schedule might look like for those things. And start blocking your calendar. Add additional blocks to your calendar. Like I'm going to LA next month, and the flight to come home, number one, time is changing. Cali back to Florida, literally East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, whatever. My flight lands back here at like 7 in the morning. And I'm like, well, if I sleep on the whole flight, blah, 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 like, am I really going to get off the plane and come to work? Because it's no point in me going home. Like, literally no point in me going home. Because I'm going to pass my job to go home. So maybe I'll come in for a couple hours, just get situated, go home and go to sleep. But what I did was I blocked my calendar. Like, I blocked my work calendar saying that I'm going to be off on that Monday. I think I even blocked it for that Tuesday, if I remember correctly. I'll have to check. But I know I blocked it for that Monday because I'm like, I might go home and work from home because I can just be on my couch, be at my desk or whatever. Or maybe I'll, swing through on the way in, pick up something, see if there's any emergencies, and then keep it moving. But what can you do to protect your energy? What can you do? So can you put less things on your to-do list? Can you look at your calendar for a longer period of time and kind of get this overview of what's going on? Can you ask for help? Like maybe it's a season where you just ask for help, outsource, or something to that effect, to where you have the support that you need for these different things. Maybe that. Maybe it's something else. But again, this is just 3 quick things to kind of make you think about. And so then, what's the last thing that you can do to avoid this burnout? If we talk about that execution phase, this is where you're really taking action. You want to make sure that as you're coming into November, even maybe thinking ahead to December, and ultimately into 2026, what can you do that lets you start strong without you having to feel like that you're starting over? My word and phrase for the month of October was about resetting, like getting myself back together and getting myself into some of these habits that kind of had gotten shaky. And as I prepare for and start thinking about November, I want to continue that, but better. So like me going grocery shopping, me doing my weights and measurements, me committing to a workout program. Like all of that is part of that. And sometimes people think that starting strong has to be this right out the gate, that's immediate momentum pull or some word or phrase like that. Whereas starting strong could be starting slow. And by that I mean, I ran track in high school. I was not a distance runner. But even in sprinting, yes, you start strong. You come out the blocks. Never really learned how to come out the blocks properly. But you come out the blocks, or you come off that starting line strong. But you also have to pace yourself to give yourself a pace to where you can keep this up. But then at the end, you also have that kick. You have that point and phase to where this is my kick and I can go strong. Like I can sprint to the finish line, so to speak. And as you're thinking about starting November and starting, this holiday season with that in mind. Because honestly, for some people, fall and stuff is here, but like Halloween is kind of the kickoff of that, which is literally, ending October going into November. But what can you do as you're preparing for November that's going to help you to start the month out strong, but at a pace that is sustainable for you, that you can keep going? And as you get that momentum, maybe you kick it up a notch a little bit each week, but you start with your baseline. Maybe you look at your calendar and the end of the month is where it gets really busy. So you're like, okay, I'm going to reverse it. I'm starting out strong, knocking all the things out so that I can taper it off. What does it look like for you? Because that goes back to putting less on the to-do list. Maybe for you it's putting more on the to-do list in the beginning of the month. But also doing that overview of the weeks and the months to kind of see where your energy and your focus needs to be devoted. Is it equally spaced out through the month? Is it concentrated in an area? Is it concentrated in the beginning or the middle or the end? Is it, what does that look like? And so as you think about what does keeping your habits have to do with this, as you keep your habits, so like we talked about adjusting your routines. When we talk about keeping your habits, you still want to have some semblance of normalcy. Y'all get what I'm trying to say. So what can you do to keep your habits even as you're adjusting, even as you're shifting, even as you're pivoting? What does that look like? So I want you to be able to avoid the holiday burnout, go into November strong in a way that is sustainable and it's something that you're able to carry through to the finish line of 2025. So that as you prepare and start preparing for 2026, you're doing that in a sustainable way. I'm going to be hosting a masterclass in about a month in November called the Simple Reset. And I'm going to, in the course of that, help you to create and understand how this acronym, SIMPLE, is going to be an acronym that you can use to not only plan your week, but you can use it to plan your month. And I get it. I said this in November, but I'm telling you to plan for November now. The masterclass is November the 22nd. So you'll be able to use that to plan for December, because sometimes December might get busier than November. And no matter when it gets busy for you, if you're like, I don't got time to wait, hello, I'm Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach. We can start this now with one-on-one coaching. You don't have to wait for the free masterclass to get it with everybody else. But you need to understand how keeping your habits is going to help you to keep that little bit of edge you got, that little bit of oomph you have. And so I want you to be able to avoid burnout, not just for the holidays, but in life in general. But as this holiday season is approaching with these back-to-back holidays, we talked about, and I've talked about how Q4 is kind of like that quarter that goes quickly because of all the back-to-back go here, there, and everywhere. So look at your routines. Do an audit of them. Examine your habits to figure out what adjustments do you need to make, what tweaks do you potentially need to make, and execute. Execute in having that game plan to start November out strong, but in a way that's sustainable and it can carry you through not only November, but into December and through the rest of 2025. So that's really what I got for y'all today. It's been Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for another Sunday of the Success Starter series. We'll be back next week, same time, well, the correct time, whatever, same time, same place, as we continue, and we'll be kicking off December, because I think is the first is either Saturday or Sunday. Either way, we'll be kicking off November. So we'll have new month, new theme, new topic. And yeah. You can avoid the burnout. You can avoid the holiday burnout. All you need is a little bit of help, a little bit of tweaks, a little bit of adjustments. And so make sure you have your game plan to make that happen and to let that happen. So until next time, it's been Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach. Coach Lee.